and thank you for watching Edupedia World videos. In this lecture, we will continue to talk about sales in SAP ERP system. In previous lecture, we talked about customizing a sales document. Now we'll talk about the next step in customizing a sales document, an item category. An item category controls the behavior of an item by controlling the various elements relevant to an item processing, such as item price, delivery, transaction flow update, and so on. The customization settings that you define at the item category level determine how the item will behave within a sales document and how it will impact all the next steps in the sales document cycle. By using customization settings for delivery relevancy, billing relevancy, and pricing relevancy in the item category setup, you can bring various flavors for an item to fit your business needs. For example, to set up an item category that should cater to free of charge deliveries, you can make a standard item relevant for delivery and billing, but not relevant for pricing. Standard SAP comes with a long list of predefined item categories that work for various business scenarios. For example, you have item category AFN for document type AF inquiry, item category AGN for document type AG quotation, and so on. You can make use of these item categories if they match your business requirements, or you can create your own by copying from these standard item categories. Now we will try to create the new item category. To define a sales item category, you must go to transaction SPRO. Click on SAP reference IMG and follow menu paths: Sales and Distribution, Sales, Sales Documents, Sales Document Item, and click on Define Item Categories. Now we see the list of all item categories in the system. Now we can create the new item category by copying it as a reference from one of the existing item category. For example, we can find item category for standard order TAN, standard item, and copy it as a reference. Now we'll take a detailed look at the various fields in this item category. Now we can take a closer look to first section, business data. Here you define business data for the item category. First field is item type. In SAP, items are classified as text items, value items, studded items, or any other customized items. Text items are generally used for sending print materials such as flyers, catalogs, and so on to the customer. These items are generally not billable to the customer and therefore are not relevant for pricing. Text items can be added directly to the sales order without requiring you to create a material master record first. In standard SAP, item category TATX is available for use with text items. Value items. SAP provides value items for scenarios where you bill your customer for a fixed lump sum amount for the goods or services rendered. The value is fixed and does not change with changes in quantity, volume, weight, or time associated with this material. And standard item. You can use standard item for all other scenarios. The pricing for a standard item takes into consideration the change in quantity, weight, volume, and time units associated with the material. By selecting a value in the field item type, you classify your item category as one of 3 items. We will leave this field blank, so we will choose standard item. Next field is completion rule. The completion rule field controls the completion status for an item in inquiries, quotation, and contract documents. It tells that at what point in time your item will be considered completely processed. For example, choose A in this field for your quotation item category, and SAP will set the status of your quotation document as complete on its first reference by an order. Once the status is complete, you cannot refer to the quotation again for another order. The available options to this field in customizing are self-explanatory. We can leave this field blank, so it will be not relevant for completion. Special stock field. Make a selection in this field when you want your item category to use the inventory or some special stock location. For example, in the case of consignment processing, the scenario demands billing the customer only for the stock quantity physically consumed by the customer from the consignment stock location. This stock and the consignment location is tracked in SAP using the special stock indicator, customer consignment, indicator V. This helps SAP to use the stock from the customer consignment location for all the inventory-related postings during consignment issue and consignment returns processing. Next field is billing reference. Whether the item category is relevant for billing is controlled by the billing reference field. Available choices to this field are self-explanatory. A few important ones of them are as follows. B for configuring the item category relevant for order-related billing, A for delivery-related billing, D for pro forma billing, I for billing plan relevant billing. And we can leave this field blank to configure our item category as not relevant for billing. We will choose A for delivery-related billing. Billing plan type. In this field, you enter a default billing plan type key for your item category that in turn will control the billing plan for your sales item. If your item category is relevant for periodic or milestone-based billing, you need to assign the 2-character billing plan identifier here. In our case, we will leave this field blank, so we don't want to use billing plan type. Next field, billing block. Using this field, you can default a billing block for your item category. When you create the sales document using the item category with a billing block set in customizing, the item in the sales document will get blocked for billing and can be billed only when authorized person validates the sales item and removes the billing block. If your business requirement demands that the item should be blocked for billing by default, you should use this field. In our case, we will leave this field blank, so we don't want a billing block. Pricing. Here you set the pricing indicator for your item category. The pricing indicator tells whether the item category is relevant for pricing and whether SAP should automatically carry out pricing for the item in the sales document that issues this item category. You can choose among the following indicators. X makes your item category relevant for standard SAP item pricing. A sets your item category relevant for pricing for empties. B applies free goods pricing for your item category. Keep the value in this field blank to make your item category not relevant for pricing. We will make a selection for X, pricing standard. Next field, statistical value. In SAP, item values are totaled up to calculate the document value at the header level. When we set a statistical value indicator for our item category, the item value does not roll up to the header for calculating the document totals, unless you want your item values to act statistical. Keep the value in this field blank so SAP can consider the item values while calculating the document totals. If you choose X, SAP performs no accumulation, and the value cannot be used statistically. If you choose Y, SAP likewise performs no accumulation, but the value can be used statistically. We will leave this field blank, so system will copy item to header totals. Business item. This checkbox, when selected for an item category, allows the business data in the header and item for a sales document to be different. Select it when you want to allow different data between the header and line item for your sales document, and deselect it if you want the data to be the same between the header and item. We will check this field, so we need the same data in the header as we want to allow difference between header and the item in our sales document. Schedule line allowed. When this checkbox is selected, it allows the item to have schedule lines. The schedule line tab in the sales document item level appears only when you select this checkbox when customizing for your item category. You need the schedule line only for those items that are relevant for delivery. Items that are not relevant for deliveries, such as credit note items, debit note items, and service items, do not need a schedule line. Text items, as an exception, can exist both with and without a schedule line. We will check this field. Next field, item relevant for delivery. Text and value items do not contain schedule lines and therefore cannot be delivered as such. When the checkbox item relevant for delivery is selected, it allows the text and value items to be relevant for delivery. By making them relevant for delivery, it does not deliver text items from stock, but allows them to copy to the delivery document for informational purposes. Do not select this checkbox unless you are configuring an item category for text or value items that you want to make relevant for delivery. Returns. This checkbox tells whether the item in the sales order is a return item. Select this if you are setting up the item category for return goods or a similar process. Weight and volume relevant. This checkbox specifies whether SAP should calculate the weight and volume for the item. Credit active. This checkbox tells whether the item is relevant for credit checks. Select this if you want to perform the credit checks for your items. Determine cost. Selecting this checkbox tells SAP to use the cost condition type in pricing to calculate the cost of the item. Now we can move to the next section, General Control. The next set of fields when customizing an item category are a few checkboxes. 3 checkboxes. These checkboxes act as yes or no indicators and exercise some general controls over a sales document item with respect to batch determination and order quantity. Automatic batch determination. This checkbox controls the batch determination for an item. When selected for an item category, it tells SAP to use automatic batch determination to find out the matching batch for material entered into a sales order line item. Use this only if your materials are batch relevant. Next checkbox, rounding permitted. This controls whether a required order quantity can be rounded to match the deliverable units. When selected, it activates the rounding feature for an item category and vice versa. In addition, you also need to define a rounding profile and assign it to either a customer material record or a material master record. A rounding profile consists of threshold values and round up, round down percentage. Order quantity equal 1. Select this checkbox if you want the order quantity for each sales item to be limited for 1 per line item in the sales document. Next section is transaction flow. This field controls the transactional flow for an item in a sales document. Screen sequence group. A screen sequence group controls the fields that appear on various screens related to an item and the sequence in which these screens appear during the processing of a sales item. This field should always contain an N to represent the standard item screens, unless you have defined your own item screen sequence group and you want to use that instead of the standard. We will use N, a standard screen sequence group. Status profile. Select a value here only if you want to attach a default status profile to your item category. Using the status profile, you will be able to control the user-defined statuses for line item in a sales document. Create PO automatically checkbox. This checkbox was available only for ALE and in previous versions, but now it is also available for third-party purchase order creation. When selected, it creates a purchase requisition for a third-party schedule line and a purchase order in the background when you save the order. Select this checkbox only if your item category type is relevant for third-party order processing. Okay, and incompletion procedure. An item incompletion procedure will ensure that when you save the document, the required data for an item is duly filled in and its incompletion status is complete. Partner termination procedure. An item level partner termination procedure will ensure that the required partner data is present at the sales item level. Text termination procedure. An item text determination procedure will control what text fields should be determined for an item and how. Item category statistics group. An item category statistics group will control the update of item data in the logistics information system. Now we can move to the next part, bill of material. This field controls the variant configuration and bill of materials processing for an item category. In the bill of materials section, there are 3 main fields, and they are most important for us: structure scope, create delivery group, and manual alternative. Structure scope. Entry in this field determines how a bill of material is going to be processed in a sales document. You can choose from the following options. Select A for explode single level bill of material, B to explode multi-level bill of material, C configuration, no bill of material explosion, D configuration, position with bill of materials explosion. E. Structure from customer function product selection. Or you can leave this field blank and do not exploit material structure. Create delivery group field. Use this field when your item category is bill of material relevant and you want to combine all the deliverable sub-items of a bill of material in one delivery group, so as to deliver on the same date. When you select this checkbox, SAP groups the sub-items into a delivery group with same dates. When you choose A in this field, SAP creates a delivery group with correlated schedule lines. Or you can leave this field blank so to not form delivery groups. Manual alternative. This checkbox, when selected, allows the user to manually pick an alternative bill of material for an item during the bill of material explosion in a sales document, provided that multiple bill of material exist for an item in SD. Now we see last few sections. We see the fields relevant for value contracts, repair management, and resource-related billing. You make a selection in these fields only when your item category type is relevant for any of these processes. We will talk about contracts later in our lectures, and service management is not in the scope of the sales and distribution. After we make all necessary changes here, we can save our item category. So we see the warning message that this item category is already exists. So we can change it to unique name. And press now. We don't want copy control automatically copied from the reference item category. And we have successfully saved our new item category for standard order. Save changes and save transport request. Now we will talk about next step in customizing sales documents. We will set up an item category determination rule. Unlike a sales document type where you manually enter the sales document type on the initial screen, an item category is determined automatically by SAP during sales order processing. This is made possible by assigning the item category to a determination key in customizing. You can assign an item category to the determination key by using our customization guide, SPRO, SAP reference ING, and follow menu path Sales and Distribution, Sales, Sales Documents, Sales Document Item, and click on Assign Item Categories. The first four fields on the screen, Sales Document Type, Item Category Group, Item Usage, and High Level Item Category, form a determination key. You can assign one default item category and up to 11 manual item categories to a determination key. During determination, the default item category automatically copies to the required item line in the sales document. But you can always override it with any of these 11 manual ones you assign to the same determination rule in customizing. We can find our sales document type. We can press New Entries, find our sales document type and item category that we want to assign to our sales document type, and save changes. We see that we have already entered Okay, so we have successfully added our sales, our item category assignment to a sales document type. That's why we can't create the new one. So we will try to find our position. Yeah, so we have our sales document type and item category for this sales document type. And we can save our changes. After that, we can save our transport request. Data was saved. Now we will talk about how SAP determines an item category. So first, SAP reads the document type from the sales document. Then SAP reads the item category group from the material master of the sales item material. At this point, it also checks whether the item is a main item or sub-item to find out whether a high-level item category will have any role to play in an item category determination. SAP also checks if there is any item usage that needs to be considered for item category determination. After that, SAP creates a determination key from the data received. Then, SAP searches for this key in arrangement for determination rules. And at last, SAP returns the item category for the sales item to the sales document. Now we can move to our next step, in customizing sales document, defining schedule lines categories. A schedule line consists of confirmed delivery quantities and corresponding confirmed delivery dates when these quantities can be delivered. A schedule line category controls this delivery scheduling process and impacts logistics by controlling various relevancy indicators and other values related to delivery, purchase acquisition generation, availability check, goods movement, transfer of requirement, product allocation, and so on. The behavior of a schedule line, whether to create delivery, by default blocked for delivery. So it depends upon the configuration options you set when customizing the schedule line category. To define a schedule line category, you can use customization guide. Go to transaction SPRO. Click on SAP reference IMG. Follow menu path Sales and Distribution, Sales, Sales Documents, Schedule Lines. Define schedule line categories. Okay, so here we can see the list of schedule categories. We can create our new schedule line category by copying it from its existing entry. So select necessary entry and click Copy as reference. Once you are at the customization screen, enter a 2-digit alphanumeric key with the description ZC, no MRP. So now we will take a look at various customization settings of a schedule line category. First field, delivery block. The delivery block key that you enter in this field gets copied over as a default delivery block on the schedule line in the sales document. Select the delivery block which you would like to default to your schedule lines. Or you can leave this field blank without delivery block. Movement type. A movement type is in SAP controls the to and from movement of goods and thus controls inventory update. For instance, movement type 601 is used for goods issue from the inventory, and therefore it reduces the inventory to the tune of delivered quantities. The SD module uses goods movement from 601 to 699. Select the relevant movement type for a schedule line category in this field. We will use movement type 601. Item relevant for delivery indicator. When selected, the checkbox item relevant for delivery indicator allows the items attached to a schedule line to be relevant for delivery. Leave this field deselected for those schedule lines categories where you do not want the items to be delivered, such as inquiry and quotation related schedule line categories. Movement type, first step. This field allows you to enter the movement type for one-step movement of goods. Processes such as STO can have both single-step and two-step movements of goods. Example of a two-step process would be transferring goods from plant A to plant B, where step 1 is goods issue of goods from plant A, and step 2 would be performing goods receipt in plant B when the goods are physically received in plant B. A one-step process would be transferring goods from plant A to plant B, where step 2 is deemed performed when you perform goods issue from plant E. In this case, you will not wait for goods to be received physically in plant B in order to perform the goods received step. Whereas the goods received at plant B will be automatically performed by SAP the moment you perform goods issue from plant A. One step process is generally used when the plants are physically located very close to each other, and therefore cross-plant movements need not involve two separate steps. Order type, item category, account assignment category. You can check the availability of the goods in stock and can transfer the shortage requirement to production planning or the purchasing module. These three fields together allow the automatic creation of a purchase requisition for the requirements transferred from the sales order. We can leave this field blank if we don't need this at the moment, and we don't need this for our schedule line category. Purchase requisition delivery schedule. This checkbox indicates whether the sales line item is relevant for delivery rescheduling. Keep this deselected for third-party orders processing because it is possible to have a direct shipment of goods from your vendor to your customer, and you do not require SAP to reschedule delivery timelines in such a case. Use this when the goods come to your warehouse first and then move to a customer's purchase order on receipt of the requirement from the sales order so that SAP can add those times into the delivery scheduling. Incompletion procedure. The field incompletion procedure is for display only in the customization screen for schedule line categories. You enter a default value for an incompletion procedure for a schedule line in the customization of incompletion procedures. Requested assembly. This checkbox acts as an on and off switch for transferring requirements. When selected, requirements from a sales order can be transferred to the production planning or the purchasing module by creating the relevant purchase order or purchase requisition. It also acts as the prerequisite for an availability check to happen. If you do not select the requirement field and select only the availability field, the check will not function. Availability and production allocation. When selected, these checkboxes activate the availability check product allocation for a sales order. We will talk in detail about these fields in one of our future lectures. So after we fill all necessary fields, we can save our data. We have a warning message that this key is already exists, so we must change it. And select our changes. So we have successfully maintained our schedule line category. Save changes and save transport request. Now we can move to the next step, setting up a schedule line category determination. Just like an item category, schedule line categories are also determined automatically by SAP. This is made possible by assigning the schedule line categories to a combination of item categories and MRP type. The MRP type is stored in the MRP view of the material master record and is responsible for the requirement planning for the material. We can assign a schedule line category via Assign Schedule Line Category. Pass from the SAP transaction. Double-click on Assign Schedule Line Categories. So we press New Entries. Find our item category. The ZAN standard item. Enter MRP type. No planning. Okay, we have this warning message. That we have already. Oh yes, we have already assigned our schedule line category. So for our item category, we have assignment of the schedule line categories. In this case, all we need is to save our changes. Data was saved. And we can move to the main screen. In last few lectures, we talked about customization of a sales document. We have successfully defined our sales document types. We defined item category. We set up an item category determination. We defined schedule line category. And we set up a schedule line category determination. In next lecture, we will talk about setting up copy controls. So it will be our last step in sales and distribution, in customization of a sales document in sales and distribution. And copy controls is a very huge part and very important part of customization of a sales documents. Thank you for watching Edupedia World videos.